Tonight's session is going to be about epicness, awesomeness, finding everything great within you and giving that the time, attention, love that it deserves every day. So our tradition, I'm going to ring the bell, and as we walk in, I invite every one of you to bow as you enter the temple. As you get to the enlightened being, bow and honor the awesomeness within you, the awesomeness within every one of us, and then grab a cushion. All right, so here we go. For those of you on the live stream, I'll guide a little meditation for you to contemplate. So as we bow, we bring ourselves present with a deep breath. On your next deep breath, find the part of you that's what you were always meant to be, the part of you that fully believes in yourself. And know that tonight's session, you'll give that all the love and care that it deserves. As you notice each person bowing, just continue to feel that goodness within you. Each breath you take, feeling a greater sense of inner strength, inner wisdom. Each breath you take, feeling more focus and more ease, giving yourself the love, the attention and the care that you deserve. Finding within yourself strength, maybe parts of yourself that you haven't felt for a long time, believing in yourself, caring for yourself, joy or love within yourself. As we're preparing for this evening's session, each breath you take, becoming more present, more ready to bring your best self. And we're going to start this evening's session with a dedication. With the intention setting. So as we were entering, I said tonight is about awesomeness. So I want everyone to take a few strong, deep breaths, and each breath connect more with confidence, strength, brilliance within yourself. And you can start to remember times where people have inspired or uplifted you. Or perhaps they've cared for you, or soothed you, or taught you. And as you breathe, you're just feeling that connection with goodness, contagious goodness. Whatever inspires you right now, perhaps it's strength and power, perhaps it's comfort and ease, perhaps it's love and kindness. Setting the intention that tonight you're bringing all of your power to that which you think is important right now. That we can uplift others, that we can bring peace, love, and positivity to others. I want you to notice how much you're imagining what you will cultivate tonight. And imagine what your mindset would be like if you were aiming to cultivate 100 times as much transformation tonight. Take some deep breaths and let your imagination and feelings expand into that. And when you're ready, let's grab a seat. So to people who are new here in VR, welcome. I want these sessions to be awesome for you. So please jump in, ask questions, challenge me, help get things so clear in your mind that what I'm saying seems obviously something you can implement, something that's obviously something that will inspire and transform you. If it's not clear for you, maybe it's not clear for others. So please jump in, any questions or thoughts. And for those of you on the live stream, Marlise says hi, everyone. To everyone out there on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, Creek's waving hello. Hi to all of you. It's great to have us all here. We get some more waves to all of you too. Excellent. All right. So tonight's session is about awesomeness. For those of you who are regulars, I'm about to just reinforce some of the key themes and practices we've been looking at lately. And to those of you who are new, I hope this overview is inspiring and insightful, but please give me a wave if there's anything you'd like me to explain more about. So, some of the key insights I want tonight to be based around is embracing the ability that we can transform. If we practice peace, it trains us to be more peaceful. If you practice that every day, you become a more peaceful person. When you start to think of yourself as a peaceful person, it becomes automatic. So everything that I talk about in tonight's session, I want to be based on this idea that you can train it and be good at it. So much so that that you even actively transform how you think of yourself, and it transforms how you just are automatically, whether that's practicing peace or compassion or confidence. It could be how you approach sport or math or art or your friendships. Being able to train yourself to be whatever you choose is central to what this evening session will be about. Now, we can explore different ways that you can apply that. Sure, I want to be a little more peaceful or very peaceful. What if I was equanimous, unshakably inner tranquility? Sure, I could be more confident. I could feel a bit better around people, or I could feel good around people, or I could feel completely comfortable around people, or I could feel my role around people is to be vibrant and uplifting and enlightening. When we think about who we're becoming, the range of possibilities is enormous. And it's almost always bigger than what we let ourselves imagine. So tonight, I want to expand what you think is possible for you and re-empower those tools for you to practice being awesome, feeling great, inspiring and uplifting yourself and others every day. So that's that first theme, that we can train and transform ourselves, and that we can get it to a point where we're actively transforming who we think we are, and that expands our realms of possibility. My second point that I want to bring us or weave into our topic tonight is mindfulness. Noticing what you're thinking, noticing what you're feeling, noticing what you're saying. So instead of just continuing with your old practices, oh, I'm okay in this situation, or I'm all right at doing art, you notice, oh, I've just told myself I'm practicing, I'm okay here, or I'm practicing, I'm okay at doing art. And instead of believing that, you always notice, that's the thing I've been practicing. I'm able to transform that. I'm able to practice something else. So by noticing what we say, it allows us to be free, to stop old habits and then infuse new creativity. It's also wonderfully powerful to notice what you say to others, how you speak to them, and the impact you're having on others. And yes, saying something uplifting or down-putting to someone else, you might not see it straight away, but you say things enough times and it rubs off on people. And sometimes one inspiring comment can stick in someone's mind and change their life forever. So if we actively approach the way we communicate with others with real love and care, it's wild over time how much positive impact we can have on others. To help them feel great, to help them live great, to help them to have more love, care, patience, and connecting with those people around them. So, deeply knowing that we can rehearse and practice transformation. Awareness to see what we are practicing, what we are saying to ourselves. And a care that we'll have this positive impact on ourselves and others. That's the core themes that I want tonight to be based upon. Let me check the live stream, and I just want people here to think, is there anything about what I just said that you'd like some clarification? Or you've been practicing and you want to share how that's been great for you? So I'll just give everyone a moment to think. Lemon Wise sends his love to everybody. Lou has been doing the timestamps. It's great to have you here, Lou. Oh, I was looking at the last 2 weeks' timestamps, and without the seconds, it makes it quite a lot harder. So if you could approximately put in the seconds, super grateful. If that's too much work, that's fine. I just have to listen to another minute or two of each timestamp. And we really appreciate having you here, and I hope that the positive practices from this session have been so good for you. That's what's inspired you to contribute back to the community. And on that note, as a team, we've been talking, how can we share these classes or any positivity in a way to help the world as much as possible? So if there is ever a minute of the class where you're like, that's amazing, please let me know, hey, this snippet was great, and we'll make that into its own video and share them in other places. Or if you feel like sharing them to different platforms, please do. The more we fill the minds of the world with inspiration and positivity, the better the world becomes. Okay, so to people here, people on the live stream, what I was saying about practicing self-transformation, practicing being aware, and having that positive intent to impact yourself and others. Does anyone have any questions, responses, or thoughts about that? So I wanted to start with a thought. Krieg will come to you in just a second. I was saying about when we practice transforming ourselves, we can also not just practice peace, but we can also imagine that I am the kind of person that is peaceful. And I think there's something beautiful about that realization. If someone believes that they feel a little nervous in situations, and then they're practicing being peaceful, they can get quite good at being peaceful. But if they're core self-image is still the old thing. You kind of have to keep practicing it. Bit by bit, your core image changes. If you think of who you really are now compared to a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, you'll see that it has changed over time. But if you actively imagine your core self changing, it's wild how helpful that is. So going back to the idea of practicing being peaceful or at calm in any situation, if here's like the level of stress or non-peace that you think you are, and then you've been practicing being at ease. Little by little this comes down, but still this is your idea of yourself. So in different situations you have to remind yourself, oh, chill out. Yeah, that's right, I'm practicing chilling out. But if you actually spend time practicing that yourself is at peace with everything, then when you're in situations, your automatic reaction will be to respond peacefully. And the same is true if you're practicing being confident in social situations, or confident while learning a new skill, or confident while learning something technical, or being excited and expressive while you're dancing, or whatever you want to reprogram or transform. If you let yourself imagine what it's like for your very core to transform, it's a beautiful gift. It's a powerful practice. And I want to inspire every one of you, when you think of self-transformation, to imagine it being 1,000,000,000 times easier and faster than what you used to think it was. So when you approach yourself and you imagine new ways of being, you're able to be really creative and really playful with what you practice. And then you get what you practice. So Creek, you had a question or a statement?
So hopefully this will be worded as least obscure as possible. So a method of practice is the utilization of describing the world around us in terms of truth, right? So you can even see this in Buddhism, where they say the world around us is impermanent. And by living with that perspective, it changes the way you practice in a way. So the method that you describe would be one of practicing with the putty being the person, and when you use truth as a way to practice the world at large, maybe your person is a part of that, but the world or your perspective is the putty, is the way I imagine it. Any case, I find that there's a difference between these two ways of practicing or self-teaching. What would be a good way of using mindfulness to determine when is better, when is more useful to use one method than the other? Or is that too obscure? It's probably just a situation by situation.
Could you try to summarize what the two things you were saying were?
Sure. So I could say to myself, every moment is super valuable, and I act in every situation with this immense gratitude and joyful presence. You could also practice the same thing by saying, the world around us is incredibly impermanent. Every moment's a gift. This whole experience is a process. Both of these options are teaching us similar things, but we go about the vision of this in different ways. I was wondering, I guess, if one's a fork and the other's a spoon, right? Life is like a meal, and so you need different ones at different times. I suppose, though, yeah, go ahead.
So, can I try to reflect back what I heard? The first one is
Yes.
you were giving an example of saying, I do something. And the second one was saying, the world is some way, or I see the world in some way. Is that a good summary of the difference
Yes.
between the two?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I like to approach both of those as just different brain programs. Um, when in terms of which one is which, yeah, I love how you said that it's like a fork and a spoon. Um, we can transform how we experience other things. We can transform ourselves. We can um, we can transform how we think of others and how we relate to others. Um, why am I giving this lofty answer? Um, when it comes to experimenting with our mind and how we move through the world, I encourage you to try all different things. Some people might find benefit from saying peace, 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 shanti, shanti, shanti. Some people might find peace from saying I am at peace. Some people might find peace from saying I am the emissary of peace to this planet. My role is to enlighten all beings. Some people might find peace by saying, hey, I like to chill out. Some people might find peace from saying, everything is going to be okay. Some people might find peace from saying, I know choosing calm helps me sort things out. You see, all of these things didn't perfectly fit into the two categories of change myself or change the world. Some of them did. Some of them were kind of a mixture in between. So when it comes to the ways that we describe ourselves, our attitudes, and the way we see the world, the possibilities are huge. I have generally focused on the practice of transforming me. I am at peace. I see the world through the eyes of tranquility and calm. And I found that to be most effective. I'm transforming myself, but I've definitely heard people who've had benefit from all of the different practices. And there's definitely been times where I've noticed my attitude towards something wasn't so helpful, and then I tried a different attitude towards those things. And that was super helpful. So yeah, I would say rather than categorizing them, just see them all as practicing transforming yourself. What's the difference between you and the world around you? Some people say we're all interconnected. You change the way you see the world, that changes you. So in general, I want to empower everybody to be just thinking every aspect of yourself, whether it's how you talk about yourself, how you see the world, how you feel about things, the subtle way in which you respond to this or that. Every aspect, every layer, every part of yourself is something where you could bring your creativity and imagine it being amazing. So whenever you notice, oh, I thought that about the world, or I thought I respond to this, every single moment you notice how your mind works is a place you can pour in your creativity, your best self, your enlightened self. Sometimes on my journey, I've found that I have some attitude or some habit, and I'll spend time trying to make it better. And after a while, it's a bit better, but not a lot. And I'll step back and say, hey, what about if I just approach this totally differently? What if I, instead of a fork or a spoon, took out a rocket or planted a seed. Like, have a totally different metaphor in my mind or a different way of describing it. And you can see that all the time. Some people will describe they struggle with something, and to someone else, that thing's like doesn't even exist. And so, like, putting your attention onto this thing is maybe just not helpful. And so, sometimes the best thing is just to like try a completely different approach to that part of your life. Back to your original question of whether I am a being of peace or whether the world is peaceful. Some people would suggest don't even have any of these labels. Just be present. So I hope for everyone here that gave you a broader set of options for what do you practice, what do you tell yourself. And yes, we were mostly talking about how to be more peaceful with the world or see the world with more ease. But the same's true with whatever it is you're wanting to work on in your life. Creek, how is that as an answer, or do you have anything you'd like to follow up and ask or respond?
That was great. It comes from a seed of a question of, I suppose, the depth at which justifications take place. Justifications meaning the reasons we give ourselves to complete an understanding or set a goal or see the world. It's no matter which tool you use, it's still you digging, right? So it's fine. Thank you.
One thing I found that our justifications or our explanations for how we feel, they can actually really affect how we think. So let's just say, I want to be at peace, but when the construction is happening out on the street, that sound is so annoying and the people doing it are so inconsiderate. How can I be at peace when that's happening? But I'm going to practice peace. But I'll keep telling myself that sound, So I hope if you're being mindful, you'll then notice, I'm labeling that sound as annoying. There are definitely people who meditate on the sounds around them, no matter what sound, being a source of calm. Or they'll listen very carefully to the sound waves and find the music within it. So the way that you have that experience is so open to possibilities. And so the justifications that you give things kind of then adjust your other thoughts. But likewise, rather than changing your thought around the construction sounds, if you were to just dive into I'm at peace with everything, and you focus on the peace of the breath or the flutes in the background of the temple, if you then get to this point where you're totally at peace, and then the construction sounds come back in, yes, there's a chance you could do that again. But there's also a big chance you'd be like, actually, yeah, that does sound peaceful now. You've shifted your mind, so then your justifications change. And I've seen similarly our way of thinking about things. When you choose to love healthy food, you notice all the delicious things in the light, fresh food. And it just changes your attitude to it. Or when you change to be more compassionate or patient or open to different kinds of people, the ways you react to what they do becomes more patient, more loving, more understanding. But likewise, when you first asked your question, and I was like, hey, it's not just program here, program there. It's like every part of us can be transformed. If you're practicing being more compassionate, and then you notice a certain kind of people that do some habit that pushes a button, then you'd be like, oh, here, this button. When someone cuts somebody off, that used to make me react like this. I'm going to practice what's an amazing reaction to that. So like every justification, every thought, every attitude that comes along with it, the more we watch our minds carefully, the more we see it as like a big, beautiful artwork. And every little piece can be decorated and designed and improved. If you have an artwork with a beautiful scenery, you have the foreground, you have the background, every part of it can be decorated. You could think of the foreground of I am at peace, and you could think of the way you decorate the sky as the world is a peaceful, beautiful place. And you could think of this little part over here as this is how I react to this kind of situation. Your mind is vast, and practicing making your consciousness beautiful does involve that whole picture. If you go in and make one part of the picture amazing without thinking of the other parts, yes, your amazing thing will rub off on the other parts. But it's much better to just make the whole picture beautiful, bit by bit, putting your love and consciousness and intention into each part. Can I see with a wave or from a comment in the live chat, people who've been here or have studied before some kind of thing about mental practice, to like the idea of practicing calm or practicing confidence? You've experienced that. Okay, so can I see with a wave if that's like a foreign idea to you? All right, people on the live chat, Lou has said they feel that we're all on our own paths trying to meet in the middle. That's so true. I hope that the things that light our paths we can share with each other. And Ekis is here. Great to have you back, mate. Hope everyone's having a beautiful week. And Gabrielle's with us. I know Gabrielle also does coaching and inspiration, and they said that the things we're talking about right now is very much along the lines of what she says to her students. It's great to have you here with us. So I'm just going to pause for a moment, and we just said a lot of things around self-practice and around all the ways we can practice it. I just want everyone to take some deep breaths, remember what we said, or imagine practicing being awesome, or think about if there were any things we said that you'd like to ask about. Just let that all sink in, and then we'll see what comes next. So, what comes to my mind is that some of you said that the idea of practicing is new to you. So I guess I want to look a little more at that. I started by saying, hey, it is possible to practice calm, and it is possible to then see yourself as someone who is peaceful. And that's amazing when you think about it, what you could become. But yeah, if I'm just saying that you can, like, that's not so helpful. We need to know How do we do it? There are many practices people do for practicing transforming themselves. Some people will say to themselves, I am peaceful. Some people will do a relaxation technique, and then while they're feeling peaceful, they then hold that feeling and then keep the feeling, practicing the feeling. Some people will imagine different scenarios in their life and what it's like to feel peace in the body and what it's like to talk with peace. And they'll visualize how they move or respond to the others, or they'll practice, this is the attitude I could have that would be calm here. Some people will dance a peaceful dance and let the feeling in their body carry their imagination away into feeling more peace and into thinking peaceful feelings. Some people will play very peaceful music and let their imagination just float into whatever kinds of peace they're inspired. Some people will sing either peaceful songs or peaceful chants, and maybe they'll stay purely in the words and the feeling of the words, or maybe while they're doing that, their imagination will then start to practice them as a peaceful person. Some people will take a positive phrase, such as, I am peaceful, or I have infinite peace inside myself, and they'll repeat it, and they'll repeat it. And then as they keep repeating it, they'll feel it, and then they'll imagine feeling it perfectly, and then they'll start to visualize all the ways they'll do it. All of the practices that I've just said have some positive impact. Some people will combine that with a meditation or a hypnosis technique. So they'll let the voice of their mind, the chatter, become really still. So then as they start to practice something positive, they're more free to feel it powerfully or to imagine it more vividly. And what I've seen is the more often people practice positivity, the more powerful the impact. You could imagine if someone wanted to be a sports person playing on a high-level team. Obviously, they have to train a lot, and the more they train, the more exceptional they become. So likewise, if you were to spend 10 minutes in the morning and in the evening each day, very quickly you would become a much more peaceful person. And I propose that getting good at transforming yourself and becoming who you imagine your best self to be, I propose that that is such a wonderful gift that giving ourselves a few times every day to do that is the best investment you can make in yourself. To find peace, to practice happiness, to practice love, to think about what your real goals are and to put them in front of the other habits, to make your friendships what you would dream for them to be, to get better at the things that you like to do in your life. You know, some people say that the difference between humans and non-human animals is that we can think or that we can learn fast. And that's an amazing thing. Like, look at what humanity creates compared to many of the other species. Yes, some people will say we're kind of destructive, but put that aside for a moment, and buildings and things everywhere. It's wild that we can learn from one another. And I would actually say more than just that we can learn and copy so well. The fact that we have the ability to self-reflect and transform is an even more amazing ability. If no one's self-reflecting, it's kind of just habits bouncing across habits, passing across habits. But every person who stops and self-reflects and chooses, they're actually shifting the direction of the universe. They're choosing to flow the future towards more love, more peace, more wisdom. And you can think for a moment, how many people, maybe as teenagers or as kids, but even into their adult lives, are like, oh, I suck at that. Oh, nobody likes me. Oh, I'm just okay at that thing. The amount of thoughts that are out there in the world that hurt people or that are just okay. It's epic how much mental junk is out there. And every time one of us stops and clears away the junk and helps other people to clear away the junk, the universe can flow into much more beauty, happiness, and ease. Whenever you hear me talking about an enlightened world, that's what I'm talking about, a world with no junk, where everyone's just choosing to be their best. And I say the reason when you hear me talk about it is because that word means different things to different people. But yeah, I hope that you imagining your mind with no junk, with all peace, positivity, and inspiration is something that inspires you, that you want to spend some time, morning, noon, and night, just diving in to practice being peaceful and aware and inspired and positive. Now I'm curious, can I see with a wave or a little jiggle? Are people feeling what I'm saying? Creek's a yes. Ollie's a little nod. Tasmo's a high five in the air. Story's nodding. Barak, is that a question? Just a wave? Wonderful. So my hope, my intention is that I hope you can see that I'm trying to get at something bigger than the feelings and the words that I can say right now. And I hope the enormity of that, the beauty of that, the enlightened inspiration of that keeps growing in you. That each day you take some time to feel more peace or more confidence. And then as you see that working, it lets your possibilities for yourself get bigger. So you dream of a much more wonderful you and a much more beautiful world. And that inspires you when you sit the next time to imagine being even more amazing. It's like this positive spiral that keeps getting better and better for you and for the people around you. And yes, in this community, you'll be able to say more and more inspiring and uplifting things. So, you go up to a bunch of like upset, sad people and you're like, wow, I practice happiness and now I'm wildly happy. Some people will get it. Some people will just not really relate. So I want us to think of this community. Yes, we're welcoming to new people and we're understanding and caring, but it's also a place where you're free to say the ways that you've made your mind awesome and positive. And the more we do that, the more empowered we become. And yes, we also have to practice when someone's having a harder time. How do we love them? How do we support them? How do we help them shift their awareness into positivity? And then as we do that, it's not just you and this community that gets more awesome. With your closer friends, it gets more awesome. And bit by bit, the whole world becomes more awesome. Our minds are more empowered and more liberated. And I want you to give yourself that gift, not just every day, but many times a day. Practice being beautiful peace. Say to yourself, I am full of love for all beings. I'm a brilliant football player. By that I mean international football, like soccer. Please be careful with the sports that you play. If there's a chance they could injure you, you guys are so precious. Yeah, my art is expressive and creative. the meditations that I guide or the words that I use touch people's hearts. They're warm. I really want you to give yourself this gift each day to say positive things to yourself. And maybe the examples I was just giving then are nothing compared to what you'd practice. Maybe you want to imagine that you're a party animal, or that you give really good hugs, or maybe it's something just so far away from stuff I'd think of. And that's great. Whatever you want to practice, please give yourself the gift to spend some time every day imagining it and feeling it. Lou has just said to us, I wish I had the motivation to share my meal preps, but mushroom and pea sauce with spaghetti isn't the most appealing sounding or looking dish. I'm not sure the context in which you posted that, Lou, if you wanted to tell us. And Gabrielle has shared a wave and a wave. So I guess you're sharing that the high five and riding that wave of positivity is something you agree with. I'm going to be quiet for a moment, and I invite everyone here and on the live stream just to take a bit of time to think what we've talked about right now. What would you practice? And as you start to think of some things, try to spin them to be positive. So I know when I first started, I was really shy. So if you're thinking, I'll practice not being shy, notice that I still have the feeling or the word of shy there. So if you think of anything like, I'm not going to do that, try to think about what you are going to practice. I am at peace, or I am confident. So to those of you who just joined us, we've just had this epic talk about practicing being awesome, whether it's peace or confidence or being hilarious. And I'm just going to be quiet for a minute while people are going to imagine, what would you want to practice? What would help you? What would make you happy? What would enrich your life or your community? And whatever ideas you've had, start to practice one of them. You can say it to yourself. I am awesome. I am peace. Maybe you could visualize the basketball going in the hoop, or you could visualize yourself creating beautiful art, or you could practice having that wonderful conversation, or practice the feelings that came to mind. And remember, I suggested some people like to dance it or sing it. Some people like to visualize it or say it. I actually recommend you use all of those different approaches to fill your whole mind with it. So whatever you're thinking of practicing, visualize it, feel it, conceptualize it. Maybe you want to get up and dance it. Maybe you want to remember some inspiring music while you think of it, or even put on some music that you love. And watch your mind and turn up the positive feeling. Imagine it feeling happier. Imagine it feeling more peaceful. Imagine it being easier. Now I hope that every one of us, perhaps you thought of 5 different things you'd like to transform, or 20, or 1,000. So I hope that in that a little time you had a couple of things, or maybe just one thing that you practiced, and that you're excited to practice even more ways that you want to feel great or be great. And my suggestion to do it every morning and every night and lunchtime and after work or after school. I hope that's exciting. There's so many ways for you to be amazing, and just giving yourself a few minutes here and there and here and there to practice being awesome, getting really good at making that feel great and knowing it rubs off on you and rubs off on your life, it's amazing. So Lou explained the motivation to share their meal prep. They were thinking of ways to contribute and how to min-max our strengths, like how to share the things that we are strong at in a way that helps the most, I guess is what that means. Oh, and then there's another comment. Some people contribute most efficiently when regarded through the lens of their work and what they do. Other people are regarded by being there for the community. Yeah, some people are appreciated from the way they make people laugh. Some people are appreciated for how they teach. Some people are appreciated by what they organize. We all have different strengths, and we can also develop new strengths. So I hope as a community we help each other thrive, and you learn to see and appreciate the strengths of different people, and we help each other learn new strengths. Thanks for the comment, Lou. Alright, now, I know some people in that time where I said I'm going to be quiet and let you practice, some of you may have vivid imaginations. I saw Ollie was dancing into their positivity. It's great. But I'm also guessing some of you thought of a couple things and then you started thinking of some other random stuff, or instead of practicing being awesome, you were like, but what about how that doesn't work? Am I right? Did some of our minds wander or do other stuff? Can I see a wave or a nod? Yeah, there's a few of you felt that. So two things I'd like to respond to that. So imagine if we were practicing yoga and I asked everybody to stand. I don't have full body tracking right now, but if I asked everybody to stand on one leg, I'm doing it now, but you could all imagine I'm standing on one leg. So balancing like this. So some of us, when we go to do that, would be falling over. Some of us would be all right, balanced a little bit, and some of us can just do it in perfect stillness. And when I first started doing yoga, standing on one leg, balancing, was a total wobble fest. But after practicing for a while and imagining myself having stillness, I can now hold that pose. And the same's true with our mind. If you could think of your mind, the things it was doing just then was kind of wobbling. And you can practice the focus. And the more deeply you go into focusing on practicing peace or focusing on practicing happiness, the more amazing that it feels. I also want to say, I mentioned before that people can combine this positive practice with meditation or hypnosis. So, for those of you who've meditated a lot and know about mindfulness, you've probably seen the difference between when you've focused and calmed the mind compared to the mind just day to day. Can I see a wave? People who really know what I'm talking about? A few of you? Alright, so I just want everyone to notice right now what your mind is like. Just what are you thinking? Maybe count how many different things you think about over the next minute. Many of you might notice just by putting your attention onto your mind, it becomes more peaceful, which is pretty amazing. But still, just keep noticing what your mind's like. And you'll probably notice, because I said it becomes more peaceful, you're noticing more of the moments where your mind feels calm. And so you could imagine what it'd be like for your mind to become very calm. And so, for those of you who are new to meditation, I want you to think of the metaphor. If your mind is like thousands of artworks, and the idea of transforming something is like getting one of the canvases and decorating it to be beautiful, an untrained mind is kind of like me coming up with 50 different canvases and going, draw on this one, draw on this one, draw on this one, draw on this one. And yeah, you might be able to splatter some colors that you like, kind of put a bit of positivity on. But when you're able to hold the canvas still and go in and imagine, oh, when this person does that, I'm going to be like this. The power of the transformation to that part of you is just epically more beautiful. You feel it more strongly. You know that it's transformed. The next time you're in that situation, the chance of the positive thing being the way you feel or the way you react, it's just so much easier and more powerful. Can I see with a nod if that seems to make sense to people? Cool. I see all the regulars nodding. So I hope the newer people here, hope you can also imagine or relate to what I just said. So I would like to now guide a meditation, and I'm just going to do the intro to the meditation to take us into that calm. And then I'm going to let you practice whatever it was you wanted to practice from before. Before we dive into it, I just want to say a few things. So I mentioned if you see a knot in your idea, to turn it around. So instead of I'm not shy, you're going to practice I feel okay with people, or I'm confident, or I'm wildly amazing. So whatever things you're thinking of, just make sure that you're actually thinking of the thing you want to become, not the thing you want to transform. If anyone wants to ask what transforming that would be, let's see a little wave. Okay, so you want to phrase the thing in the positive. You also want to be actually practicing it. It's not an idea like one day I'm going to be confident. Because in your mind, who knows when that day will come? You're actually practicing being peaceful. So when you think of the ideas you're practicing, ask yourself, do I have it phrased in the present moment? I am peaceful and confident wherever I go. Or I make beautiful art. Or when I learn, I listen so clearly and see exactly what's being said and ask questions to make everything clear. Or I am the most inspiring, enlightened being in the universe, and I help everyone be just as inspiring and enlightened. Like, is your positive thought in the present? Even if it's epic, even if it's something that's like something that it may take some time to become, I still want you to practice and imagine it in the present. Okay, so we're going to practice the positive. We're going to practice it in the present. And Creek mentioned before, do we practice the I am peace, or do we practice is the world peace? I think in general, it is good to start with practicing I respond with peace. So Creek's example where the world is peaceful and I see peace around me, that's also good. But I've seen people practice positivity with things like I win the lottery. That still has the word I. But I guess the point there is it's not something that they can do. It's much more clear and effective to practice what you can do. You may also practice how you see things or how you perceive things. But I suggest in general it's good to start with first person, present tense, and positive. I am awesome. Alright, I'll just give everyone a moment to think of the things you are thinking of practicing. And if anyone has any questions about how they would turn their idea into present, positive, and then after any questions, then we're going to do our meditation. If anyone's watching this video sometime in the future and you'd like to ask, I will see those comments. And so if you wanted to ask, well, what would I do instead of I'm not shy? Throw it in here, write it down, and I'll give some ideas of how it could be transformed. And it could be any part of your life, any way that you feel or any way that you act. Okay, so we're going to begin our meditation. For those of you who are regular meditators, please get your body really comfortable. Dive into the memory of what mental peace and body calm feels like. And each breath you take, just go even deeper. And if you're new to meditation, I just invite you to notice your body and your mind and rock forward and back a little bit. Literally move your body and notice that the weight on your feet and your hips is changing. And notice the muscles in your core and your back. And then let your body become still, but your attention is still in the body. So you can just adjust your posture a little bit, maybe feel a more energized and relaxed pose. You can close the eyes and you can take a deep, intentional breath. And on the next breath, slowly, I want you to fill the lungs as far as you can. And then on the next deep breath, feel your whole body, feel the lungs expand. And when you breathe out slowly, really enjoy the feeling of peace, of relaxing. And then you could imagine the body being so at peace that it just disappears from your awareness. As you then bring your awareness to the breath coming in and out. And as you breathe, just feel each moment of the breath becoming more peaceful and more soothing. And you might have noticed that my voice is a little deeper or slower. Something about the tone is more relaxing. So do the same with your inner voice. Just shift gears in your thoughts. Or maybe you are in a state where you're not thinking any thoughts. So just shift gears with how your consciousness feels. Breathing into mental peace. And then we're going to take our body into deeper peace. So take another strong deep breath and scan through the body and find the places that feel the most relaxed. And anywhere else that needs to relax more or just let go, imagine them letting go, relaxing. And then bring your attention back to the breath. You want to take a few breaths where you let each moment of the breath feel better and better. And then you imagine your state of mind being ready to practice beautifully amazing things. Your mind is more vivid, positive ideas, you can inspire yourself. Speak to yourself positively. You dance into the good feeling. Your inner world is uplifted and free. When you practice things that will improve your life, feel them, the amazingness of what you're practicing. Imagine your core self transforming. Practice becoming who you really want to be. If you're thinking of a few different things, let yourself choose one. Dive into that, all your vivid imagination. Shout it to yourself, sing it to yourself, hug it into yourself. I'm muted. Okay, love you. Maybe you could imagine all the people who are here practicing positivity. Take a few breaths and imagine their minds and feelings all being inspired. For anyone who will ever watch this video, how much do you wish for all of them to be empowered to create their best self and express their best self? And then come back to practicing your best self. Give it to yourself with excitement, creativity. Give it as a gift to yourself and to everyone you care about. If you're still practicing the first idea, that's great. Keep doing it more vividly. Imagine it feeling excellent. If you've moved on to something else, that's great too. Just let yourself know that you can transform yourself. Feel the beauty of practicing new feelings, practicing new habits. And now imagine if from this moment on, the things you just thought about and practiced, if you were completely transformed in those aspects of yourself. The next time that scenario is relevant, if you were just easily and perfectly the things you just thought of. Imagine how that would feel. Imagine what it'd be like. If you notice any other habits or other feelings that come up, just see that every one of those you can practice transforming them. Right now, imagine full power they're transformed, but also know as you practice every day, you can transform all those little bits and make your whole self easily awesome. And now for the last part of this meditation, I want you to imagine or practice giving yourself this gift as much as you want. I suggest imagining every morning taking some time to rehearse being great and making yourself feel great for your day. Straight after work or after school, giving yourself that gift again. And to finish the day, giving yourself that gift again. Just making these positive feelings get bigger and stronger every single time. But however much you want to imagine it, you might want to even visualize more with each meal, taking little breaks through the day. Let yourself imagine actually having this gift to yourself as much as you would like. And then for the last part of this meditation, just spend a moment remembering what you did, how it felt. Emphasize or reaffirm whichever parts of the meditation you'd like to. And then take some stronger breaths, feel it into your body, energize your body and mind. And remember, this meditation was recorded. You may like to come back and listen again. Practice this again. Make it more powerful and more awesome. And when you're ready, you can come out of the meditation how you like. You might like to pump your fists in the air. You might like to come out slowly and calmly. You might like to have a little happy dance or a stretch. Just finish the meditation in whichever way feels good for you. So I'm going to open it up to us if there's any questions or thoughts. We'll have a little discussion. Then we'll finish with our dedication, and then we'll make our way out to the social part of the evening. So on the live stream or here in person, does anyone have... Let's start with any uplifting thing you'd like to share or insights, and then we could move on to if anyone had any questions or troubles or anything. Creek, you had something you wanted to share?
First, I would say that I love you all so very much. Thank you guys for being here. Any kindness shared with yourself is kindness shared with me and everyone else in the world, in the whole universe. Thank you. And I also have a question, but it can wait. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share a positive feeling or a nice experience that they had? Tazimo?
I'm positive that my feet hurt from walking around all day as a car attendant, but I know that they will get better.
Awesome. Sometimes I've found if I visualize that my feet feel good, I just think I'm going to get more comfortable shoes. Or sometimes when you notice something you want to improve and you imagine it getting better, it inspires you to think of very practical things you can do that will make it better. So yes, your feet will get better throughout the evening, and I hope you find ways to love and care for your feet even more. Maybe you have a friend or somebody who could give you a foot massage. Maybe you'd like to imagine a foot massage. That will make them feel better. Did people notice during the meditation when we felt our body and you felt your chest with the breath that felt nice? It's amazed me that I can just make good feelings. I can relax different parts of my body. I could imagine my feet having a foot massage and it feels good. It's wild to me that we can do that. And, some of you know that I've practiced deep peace and made amazing peace, or the laughter meditations we've done, and practicing like joy that's a billion times more than what we would normally think of as joy. Just exploring how amazing our imagination can impact us. It's so wonderful. So Tazimo, I hope you're already enjoying the imaginary foot massage. I am. Just saying it. My feet are feeling good. So thank you. Would anyone else like to share? Gabrielle has shared that she's feeling so energized and uplifted now. Absolutely wonderful. Much gratitude. And in response to something, you said absolutely yes, the breathing techniques. Gabrielle, I'm so glad you're here and that you like the practices and that they've uplifted you. Creek, you said you had a question?
Now, this is a little cerebral, so prepare yourself.
I'm ready.
I'll start with one.
If you see me go like this, let's
go ahead.
pause and clarify each part of what you say.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we'll start with Neojax. I love you so much, and thank you for all that you've said. Thank you.
Love you too.
You're a wonderful teacher. Thank you. And so, really, this is, I think, me describing, in the best case scenario for me, we're describing the same sides of one coin. In an even better learning scenario for me, but meaning I'm misunderstanding you, we're clarifying your teaching. So, we'll start with my understanding, and then I'll explain the caveats. So, in the same way so the rule, if you want to call it that, really just a way to see reality, but emptiness is the implication of this arises, that becomes, right? So there's no image to my mind if my eyes are closed, because there's nothing to see. But as soon as I open my eyes, there's also an image. They come at the same time, like rubbing two hands together and having friction, or clapping. The sound arises with two hands. So with that understanding, part of me feels that the techniques of visualizing peace, you even mentioned how far we can go with our mind. Now, I absolutely agree, in the same way that I agree that when the eyes are open, the image is seen. Most of us, when we begin, we don't even realize that our mind is something that we can shape. But the thing is we're doing it all the time, whether we realize it or not. So we go up a level, and we get into this really playful state of shaping the mind. We can go crazy with it, as peaceful, as profound as we like. But I had an insight where understanding the clapping of the hands. My fear is that what we're doing with this visualization is it only lasts in so long as we're rubbing the hands together, like the friction or the sound of clapping. It has to be maintained by the mind because it's conditional upon it. Now, I agree that it can be super wonderful.
Can I respond to that?
See it. Yes.
So, when I mentioned a few times tonight to actually transform your core self, and I think when we practice the core self changing, it's then a lasting change. Let me think of another example. Let's say you're talking about a soccer skill. You could practice, you can't see my feet, but you could practice some kind of cool foot dribble where you've got full body tracking. And if you practice that a bunch and you learn this trick, and boom, you've got this trick. And anytime you want to do it over the next couple of years, you can do this trick. Some skills, like riding a bike or maybe some trick, once you've practiced them, boom, it's part of you. And with some fancy soccer trick, if you play soccer every week and you just kind of naturally keep doing the trick, you'll also have the skill forever. Some skills fade over time if not practiced, but some don't. Some just stay with you. So I encourage, when you think of these practices, to imagine your core self changing, and also, let's say, practicing peace, and then you've learnt the mental trick of being peace in each moment, and then you're just going to keep practicing that in each moment of your life. So it becomes part of how you are in each moment, and so then it stays part of who you are. Or even better, as you keep your practice in life, you'll be like, oh yeah, that level of infinite peace is great. I'm going to sprinkle in some excited love for this year. So each moment, as you mindfully move through life, you can make it more wonderful. Now that's for peace. If it's the soccer skill, yeah, you would keep using it as long as soccer is important to you, or if it's something around how you communicate or how you're loving or patient, hopefully you'll have people that you talk with and interact with for the rest of your life. So it's also something that you automatically keep practicing. You may practice, how do I respond when people do something really destructive? Because perhaps you're in a situation where people are like that. And you could get really good at that. And then maybe you change your life situations and you're not around anyone really destructive for a decade. Maybe a decade later, someone really destructive comes and you might not have that habit come straight to mind. Sure, that happens. But in response to your thing about, is it only there while you're rubbing the hands, creating the friction, or is it only there while you practiced? I encourage you to practice in a way that it feels like it's there forever. Practice like you're actually transforming yourself. And for all the things you're learning, if you're transforming your core image, they'll last either much longer or forever. You know, I used to be wildly shy. I'm never going to go back to that. I just am comfortable with people because it feels so much better. So there's a counter without even practicing being comfort. I did it for a few months. I now never need to think of that again. It's just part of who I am now, comfortable with people. And so I hope as you're practicing any states of mind or positive skills, you think of them just becoming part of who you are. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. So, I totally feel like we're describing two sides of the same coin. So that forever place where it's become a part of you forever. So, moving beyond the clay, I like to imagine, so it doesn't mean this is true, but I like to imagine that liberation of awareness it's this understanding that awareness is just like space. It's infinite, non-judgmental, non-conceptual, and that when the forever change happens, it's because we've actually let something go. There's no more rubbing of hands. Because the reason it's internalized, funnily enough, is because we've actually let go of the needing to make it there. There's less effort, it feels better. Now again though, we could just be describing the exact same thing in different words, and that's totally okay. That's all.
How does that apply to someone learning a soccer skill?
That's a wonderful question. So, I guess in a really bad way, I'm sort of prescribing to like really early Socratic teaching where he says like, oh, we don't learn things, we remember them. Which is very silly. So I'm glad you made that distinction. That's something I'd like to think about more. But perhaps I think the space of learning, if I had to answer now, the space of learning is found in the present moment where you're open to doing new things. You try, because if I tried the same thing over and over again, I can't learn anything. It's only found through exploration, and exploration's found through opening the mind, letting go of previous understandings.
So I played soccer as a kid, and I was okay. And then there was some time, a decade later, I was out playing with some people, and I saw that they had all these cool tricks that I didn't. So I stepped off to the side, and I spent an hour just doing this trick, like stepping over the ball and rolling it around with my feet. And by the end of the hour, my feet were doing amazing things that there was no way I thought I could have done an hour earlier. And that's now part of how I do soccer. So I think if our philosophies have counterpoints, like I don't think that we just remember how to play soccer. I trained it into my nervous system.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think the
I
same's
definitely don't
true.
advocate for the just remembering.
Yeah. But
So,
also the idea that enlightenment is just letting go. So yeah, there are things that people will stress about and labor about, and letting go of the stress is enlightening. Just to be at peace with that thing, absolutely. So there are moments where that idea is helpful, but I would not advocate to try and see everything through that lens. You know, you could
wonderful.
say
Thank you.
that being mindful and in the present moment is full liberation. Right now, in this moment, in every moment, I'm just aware and I'm empowered. But if you've been practicing happiness meditation and love meditation, in those moments that you're aware, you'll be more happy and more loving. It's definitely both. Mindfulness combined with the habits of the mind. And I've heard many people advocating that mindfulness or enlightenment is stepping beyond all habits, but I haven't actually met anyone who they're like, yep, I have no habits, I'm consciously choosing every moment. So yeah, I would definitely always advocate that what you've practiced shaped who you are, and embracing that is inspiring to then practice being who you really want to be and feeling how you want to feel. And yeah, anytime you see something where there's pressure or stress, absolutely let go of that. If the idea of practicing peace brings some heavy feeling, let go of that and just be peace. Sure. Everything I'm trying to share, I want people to think about it with ease and imagination and joy. I hope whenever you remember anything we talked about tonight, you try to imagine it in a way that's happy and that it's fun and it's easy. You get to practice joy, you get to practice love, you get to practice being really good at soccer, you get to practice having great times with people in parties, in business, or in art. You get to create your life better. It might not be instantly perfect and enlightened, but it's definitely better. And the more you imagine it being amazing, the even more amazing you get to practice. Creek, how was that?
That was a wonderful response. Thank you. There's of course so much I could say, but that's fine for now. Thank you for answering.
Welcome. Just checking the live stream. All right. I think we have time for one or two more comments or questions. Raskogos, hi. Just saying hi. Welcome. Hey, I just want to comment. Someone just came into the temple now, and I hope the little bit of the session that you got is uplifting and inspiring. So yeah, if you're ever running late for a session, please still come. I hope every moment is helpful. If you're walking halfway through a meditation, dive in and imagine, well, maybe it was the most enlightening meditation ever. Cool, I'm going to just dive in and see where I can go with it. Yeah. So checking the live stream. Anyone, any questions, thoughts? I encourage everyone to think of the things you are practicing, the positive thoughts that you imagined. A friend of ours recently said that a while ago he decided to look within and see who he really wanted to be or how he wanted to feel, and he found ways to just say that more. and to express that more. And he found himself just becoming who he really wanted to be. So I invite all of you to ask yourself those questions and to give that awesome part of you the attention that it deserves, the time that it deserves. And I would suggest that's many times a day. You can imagine someone who's trying to build up muscle strength. If they work out once a month, they won't really see it getting stronger. If they work out once a week, they might see it improving. If they work out 3 times a week, they will see they're stronger every time. And I've found with brain training, doing a few times a day is where you get to see it getting noticeably better every time. And I beg, I implore, I want to inspire you to explore how amazing you can make the ideas you had today. 3 times a day, try it for a month and amaze yourself. Okay, well, on that note, I think we're going to stand and finish with our dedication.
Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha.
Welcome. We're just about to finish with our dedication. I noticed Slugglesworth saying to the Dharma, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So with that idea, to the enlightened self within us, to all the great teachings, and to the community, we're going to begin our dedication. So I just invite everybody to stand and in whichever way feels great for you. You might want to bring your hands to your heart. You might want to close your eyes. You might want to put your hands up in the air. Just take a deep breath. And everything that we spoke about tonight, we're going to dedicate it to the awesome you. To practicing you every day, feeling better, being your best. But we're also going to dedicate it to you, the future you, the you of tomorrow. Are you going to practice again before you go to bed? Give yourself that gift that tomorrow is even better? What about the you in a month from now? If you practice 3 times a day, the things that you thought of today become easy and beautiful. Dedicate this evening to the you in a month from now. It's a gift to yourself. Dedicate this evening to the people you care about. As you become happier, more at peace, or better at things, that just overflows into the people around you. You may like to imagine a world where everybody is practicing infinite love and kindness and ease, letting go of all that mental trash to just be freedom. A world where everyone is uplifting and caring for one another more beautifully than we can even imagine right now. You may like to dedicate tonight's practice to that world, and that each time you practice, you are taking the steps towards that world, shifting the direction of the universe towards that enlightened universe. So as we leave, I invite you to bow to the enlightened being. Whether you're thinking of everything wonderful within you and everything wonderful that you'll ever become, or whether you're thinking of the enlightened beings throughout history, those people who've devoted themselves to goodness and shared it with the world, or whether you imagine everyone in the world becoming enlightened. As you bow to the enlightened being, I invite you to really give that some time and attention and make the most of that moment, whatever it means to you. Then as you leave the temple, we'll all be there to bow to you. And let's just feel this community, encouraging enlightenment, ease, and awesomeness with each other. And once everybody's left the temple, we'll then have social time. But I invite you to try to mindfully speak. Try to have the conversation that'll be most awesome for you. Questions about tonight, help one another, make the world a better place. Have fun, have a great time together, but try and make it as awesome as you can. So thank you everyone for joining me, and let's now begin our leaving ritual. May all beings be enlightened. May all beings be cared for. May all beings be happy and free. May we all give ourselves the gifts of joy and love and confidence. May we spread peace and happiness to all that we meet. May we smile freely and joyfully. May we build communities that make the world a more beautiful, fun, and loving place. Alright, right on everybody. If we can all just come a little closer, the camera's just in the door. Let's just give a bow to everyone throughout history who will ever see this. Everyone come on in. So as you bow to everybody, make it meditative for yourself as well. We are giving ourselves this gift and awesomeness. May all beings be happy. Lou sends us love. Eka says, have a good night, everybody. We love you guys. Thank you for being here.